What's going on, NYG Blue Zone family? It's your boy Attikis coming at you on a Monday night. It is still wild card weekend. Steelers are playing the Texans tonight. Philadelphia Eagles are at home just like the Giants, but at least they got a banner to hang up. I mean, for years, that's all they played for anyway, right? Was to get that NFC East divisional banner to hang up in their rafters. I mean, lately they've been performing well, but just so much coming out of that organization. Oh my God, the drama. It's like a soap opera, the Philadelphia Eagles. And their fans have just become, I don't know, they've become some really entitled little bitches. You hear all of this news coming out of there, all the smoke that's coming out of there between A.J. Brown and Jalen Hurts, and usually it's surrounding those two guys, right? But then Nick Sirianni and Kevin Petula, it's a mess. And their fans are so critical of these players and these coaches, except for Kevin Petula, who's brought them more winning seasons than they've seen in a freaking lifetime. I mean, I'm not a Nick Sirianni fan, but you got to give credit where it's due. Nick Sirianni has had these guys in the playoffs every year since he's been a head coach. And they're talking about wanting to fire this guy. I was listening to one of the talk radio hosts, sports talk radio shows today out of New York, and Craig Carlton, he's funny, man. He said that Nick Sirianni is not that good of a coach, and he is really just got a seat on the bus. He is really just riding on the coattails of some of the talent that is on that roster. And Howie Roseman knows how to put together and construct a roster because he has done it well. And it's easy to see when you look at their starting lineups, but it becomes real obvious how good he is at his job when you look at the depth that they have on that team. And we're not just talking about a one-off. Like, we're talking about year after year after year. Some of their backups can be starters on some other teams. But with all that said, the Philadelphia Eagles are no longer in the playoffs. They lost to the San Francisco 49ers. It was a thing of beauty as far as I'm concerned. And what made it even better, and by no means, don't mistake what I'm about to say as me liking the San Francisco 49ers, but good for them. Remember 2 years ago when they went in there and they did not have a quarterback to play in the championship game, and they were the best team in the NFC? Remember that? When Brock Purdy had injured his elbow, and I forget what happened to their backup quarterback. They had no quarterback going into the NFC championship game. Brock Purdy took warm-ups in practice, and he really thought he'd be able to go, and it was just way too painful. He couldn't even hold the ball. He ended up having off-season surgery, and CMC had to play quarterback and running back. He pretty much had to run the entire offense by himself. And it was painful to watch. So it was nice to see that they were able to enact revenge against these guys, because that was not a game. It was not a contest, and it was unwatchable football. So congratulations to the 49ers for doing what they had to do and taking that team to the next stage, the divisional round of the playoffs. Now, the news about John Harbaugh, a lot of speculation this time of the year, but we talked ad nauseum about the list of demands that Harbaugh had supposedly come up with: a $20 million salary. He wanted $10 million to cover salaries for assistants. He wanted full control of football operations, and he also wanted to be able to select his own general manager. According to reporting coming out of CBS Sports today, that information was false. That's not to say that John Harbaugh won't command a high salary, but they're saying he'll probably get somewhere in the area of $15 million per year. As far as the other items on that lengthy list, it just wasn't true, at least according to this reporting. So that's probably a good thing. I don't think it really matters too much, because whatever he's going to get paid from whatever team doesn't affect the salary cap. So it's a moot point in terms of that, but it's still an additional $5 million that somebody falsely reported that he was looking for. He also said in this report that it appears John Harbaugh has narrowed his choice of teams to three. And not in any specific order, but the two at the top of his list appear to be the New York Giants and the Tennessee Titans, or the Atlanta Falcons, rather. And then the third team appears to be the Tennessee Titans. I want to start talking a little bit about the Tennessee Titans because I think that that's an interesting choice for him. Cam Ward, we all know, and I did a lot of film breakdown on him for the prior draft, and he's just an incredible quarterback. That guy has a laser of an arm. He can throw the ball downfield. He has great escapability. He has good field awareness, but he's real raw. I don't think he was as NFL ready as the Tennessee Titans hoped that he would be, but I will also say that his receivers didn't give him a whole lot of help either. A lot of drop passes on pinpoint passes that he dropped it in the bucket on some of these receivers, and they did not catch those balls. I also want to say that I think the organization itself is just not very well run. They don't seem to know how to keep talent in the building, whether that be on the coaching staff or whether that be different players. They're just not a really well-run organization. And you can see that because think about Mike Vrabel and how he was there, and he had a team, man. His team looked very good. They were always in playoff contention. Shane Bowen actually came out of that system. And one of the reasons why I think Brian Dable, even though I think it was an afterthought, but him and Joe Shane brought Shane Bowen in was because that defense was pretty good. I mean, they had pieces in place that fit that system better than he had with the Giants. But as we can see with what Charlie Bullen has done, Shane Bowen just wasn't a very good coach. Anyway, I don't think that, and this is just me hypothesizing, I have no insider information, but I don't think the Tennessee Titans is a good fit for John Harbaugh. I don't think it's as attractive as some other people have said. But because they have a franchise quarterback who we all know is going to be pretty good as his career progresses, he's giving them a hard, long look. The other team he's looking at is the Atlanta Falcons. And the Atlanta Falcons is interesting because they don't have their franchise quarterback as far as I'm concerned. Although I do like Michael Penix. I think he's pretty good. I don't know that he's their franchise quarterback, at least in his first couple of years, with the injuries and the setbacks that he's had. And they've put pieces around him with Bijan, and they've got Drake London. They've got a really good defense. They've got a great defensive coordinator. The team is built pretty well. They got a good tight end down there, but I don't know that he wants to start, and maybe he does, depending on where the Atlanta Falcons land in the draft and where they're picking. I don't think there's an option for them at a quarterback that he can develop unless he's going to take like a bridge year and bring a veteran in to fill some space, build up the rest of the roster, and then do something with another quarterback, or if he plans to develop Michael Penix out there. I don't know. But he is taking a long, hard look at them. Didn't hear much reporting about the quarterback, and that's what piqued his interest, as much as all the other pieces that are already in place on that team. Plus, that defensive coordinator, Ulbrich, and what he's got those guys doing is just tremendous. I would also say, because the NFC South is one of the weakest divisions overall in the NFL, that he could probably, even while he's building the roster, he could probably get that team in position to compete for playoff positioning pretty early. So I think that makes that interesting for him also. Then there's the New York Giants, where I think is probably, and I'm biased, obviously, but I think that the Giants is probably the most attractive landing spot for all of these potential head coaching candidates that are out there. You got Jackson Dart, a franchise quarterback. I think the Giants have one of the better running back rooms in the league. I think our wide receiving room needs a little bit more depth, but it's solid overall. The tight end room is really good, but these guys still need to be developed. And I still think that Daniel Bellinger is underrated. And then you've got a tremendous defensive pass rush between the defensive line and the edge rushers. I think that there's some pieces that is going to really, and we've seen over the past 5 games, the final 5 games of the season, that these guys really know how to get after the quarterback and affect the passer. So I think that it makes it a very attractive landing spot for a head coach. I think that there's a lot of help that's needed in the secondary. And I don't know if our secondary so woefully underperformed because of the scheme that they were in under Shane Bowen or how he called the plays, or if the talent just isn't where we need it to be. It could be a combination of both. But I think that the Giants is probably one of the most attractive landing spots for them. And then the other thing I want to say is, you got the Miami Dolphins, and I keep hearing smoke coming out of that organization because they're really trying to turn that franchise into a winning formula out there. And they think that if they get the right head coach, and you can look at the fact that they fired Mike McDaniels after John Harbaugh put his name in the ring to become a head coach. They fired Mike McDaniels, which means they want to put themselves in play. They've already built a new stadium. They pay their coaches very handsomely in Miami. There is no income tax on whatever his salary would be if he decided to take that job there. And what a cushy place to retire from, or retire if you decided you no longer wanted to play in football. Not that he'd want to retire in South Miami, but it's not a bad place to start. So I think Miami's going to make a strong push for John Harbaugh. It doesn't mean that he wants it, because I'm hearing that that is not one of his preferred destinations. But we'll see. I think it's interesting that we keep hearing about it. And I'm one of those people who truly believes that if there's smoke, there's fire. If we keep hearing it, it's because people keep talking about it. Doesn't mean it's true, but it's possible. So I still think overall the most attractive landing spot, and not just for John Harbaugh, but for any one of these coaches, whether they're a veteran, seasoned head coach, or they're a new up-and-comer who's trying to make their mark in the head coaching arena, I think that the Giants is a tremendous landing spot because there's just so much talent on that roster. And then you got free agency coming up. You got the draft coming up. There are pieces that you could put in place. And I will say this, whoever the Giants is going to hire and whoever is putting their name in a ring as a head coach is probably going to make their decisions relatively soon so they can start doing the prep work that they need to do when they look at and start building their draft boards and look at what they want to do in free agency. I do think there's some restructuring that needs to be done on a few contracts before the free agency period hits. We got a couple of players that I think we need to make sure we look at signing. Wan'Dale Robinson, Jermaine Illuminor are just two of them. But I think that we are getting really close to where we're going to see some decisions made. John Harbaugh isn't starting to interview until maybe tomorrow or the following day. I'm real interested to see when that happens, and I want to know how it goes. So just wanted to fill you guys in on what I'm hearing, pulling up to the house now. I had a long, productive day at work. Glad you guys spent a few minutes with me. And remember, please tell a friend, tell a friend, tell a friend, like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. So every time we drop some new content, you're one of the first ones to be notified. Thanks for joining me, everybody. Have a good night.
Yeah, a lot of girls probably crying from my old high school. Look, they see me everywhere they go, I probably would too. Look, crossed over to the Jordan man like I'm Michael. Yeah, eating blessings so much I might need lipo. Yeah, tailored for the doves like I'm walking in chucks. Yeah, it's just in this plan, man, I see all y'all shook. Look, knew that I was great ever since I was a rook. Man, all y'all singles making me look good. Okay, praise to the most high, yeah, that's Jesus. Look, but when it come to this rap thing, I can't lose. Yeah, back-to-back number ones, that's a thing greats do. Yeah, tell them boys that ain't nothing I can't do. It's my year, it's my year.